And we are live. Cool, cool. So we live on everything. The title of today's discussion is Stop Studying Them and Return to the Throne of Self. So we're going to talk about identity. We're going to talk about outsourcing your identity versus actually being the author of the identity. So the first quote that I really want to focus on is Gospel of Thomas, right? And it is, when you know yourselves, then you will be known, okay? When you know yourselves, then you will be known. Okay. All right. I'm gonna mute him. He's gonna get real distracted. All right. So, what does this mean? All right. If the eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me, right? We know that quote from Meister Eckhart. And then we also go to the Gospel of Thomas when it says, when you know yourselves, then you will be known. If I am source, right? If my awareness is all that there is, then who is there to know, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to try to break down the duality, right? We're going to try to break down the duality, and we're going to try to understand, how do you know yourself? But the caveat to this is that if I'm trying to study somebody out there to figure out who I am, how can I know myself? Right? So let's break it down like this, okay? The awareness is God. Let's say awareness is God. Let's say that, right? Awareness is God. There is only awareness. There is only the one. There is only I am. And now I am wants to experience life in human form. So now here you are. Here I am. So we manifest in human form. Right? So now the goal of awareness is to be aware, and awareness is being aware of itself. So you're walking through life, and now you are having these different opportunities that are allowing you to be aware of yourself. Let's break this down a little bit further. Most people, they get something happens in their external environment. And when that thing happens, they don't just name the thing, they name the thing in relation to them. Let's give another example, all right? You don't receive a text back for 5 hours. What does this mean? Well, it just means nothing. It means that there is silence. But now what happens is this: 5 hours goes by. But now you say, they must be doing something. Now you say, this must mean I'm not worthy. This must mean I'm not being God enough. This must mean I need to do this more. My identity is not solid. I need to start over. Whatever the case may be. We make a neutral situation about us. So let's go back to, when you know yourselves, then you will be known by you. The same awareness that is trying to give meaning to you is the same awareness watching you and waiting for you to give it meaning. So if I'm constantly studying things outside of myself and using those things to give me meaning, then how will I ever be known? The only way for us to be known by source is to be known by ourselves. The paradox, it's the same thing. Me knowing myself is God knowing me. God knows me as I know myself. When I know myself as prosperity, God knows me as prosperity. Where's the trap in this? Where's the trap? How much of our day, of our time, are we spending focusing on what other people are doing and trying to what? We're trying to make meaning out of it, decode it, right? We're trying to decode that shit. We're saying, oh, I wonder what this means. Alex, what does it mean that this person did this? If the goal is for you to be aware, for you to be conscious, for you to know yourself as what you desire to be, then it makes no sense for you to try to use somebody else to know yourself. I hope that's clear. But if it's not, hopefully it'll be clear by the end of this discussion. So let's go further, all right? If the eye with which I see God is the same eye through which life sees me. So the eye, when we talk about eye, we're not necessarily talking about the two eyes. We're talking about perspective. If your perspective of God, which is your perspective of everything, you are God, it's God. Okay, break this down, y'all. Follow me. The eye, we're not just talking about what you see. We're talking about your perspective when we talk about eye. All right? So right now, my perspective is how I see God. What is the beauty in that? Your perspective is reality. Your perspective is what manifests. All right. So if the perspective with which I see God, or the perspective with which I see the world, is the same eye, is the same perspective through which life sees me. So my perspective of the world, my perspective of life, is the same perspective that God will have of me, right? Then knowing God is an intimate recognition of the one who is aware as me right now. Let me slow down. Okay? To know myself is to become conscious of the identity I'm choosing in this moment. It becomes practical then. When something happens, I'm no longer asking, what does this mean about them? Or what does this say about the situation? Or what does that mean about me? I return to the only place meaning is ever assigned. And I ask, who am I being right now? Because remember, nothing in your life shows up with a label. Nothing. Nothing shows up in your life with a big label that says rejection, or a big label that says failed, or a big label that says abandoned. Nothing does. That's you who give it meaning. These situations show up absolutely neutral, and then you slide up and then you slap a little label on, and then you sit back and you look at the masterpiece. You say, okay, cool. I just abandoned. Okay, that's what that means. And then you sit back in the chair and you play victim to a label that you put on. But it was you. It was you the whole time. So I return to the only place meaning is ever assigned. And I ask, who am I being right now? Because whatever I decide here becomes the lens through which everything is experienced. And if that's true, then studying others to understand myself makes no sense. If my perspective of me is how reality shows up, then does it ever make sense for you to try to figure out why they did that? What that means about you? It doesn't. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Their behavior is no longer code I need to crack. It's simply a reflection I'm meeting through my own awareness. So instead of watching them closely, I start watching myself more honestly. What am I assuming? What am I identifying with? What am I choosing to believe? I finally understood that the one who is looking is the one deciding. Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right? So now, there is an addiction that most people never question. Right? It looks like awareness. It feels like care. But in truth, it is displacement. Hey, I'm starting to put two and two together on the situation that happened before. But I'll tell you after this, all right? You call it trying to understand them. You call it trying to understand them. But what you're really doing is abandoning yourself. That's what you're really doing, is abandoning yourself, all right? So the quiet theft of your power, the quiet theft of your power. Every time your mind asks, what did they mean? Right? So think about this. This can be a trap that we fall into. This can be a trap that we fall into, right? You're walking around and something happens and now what did they mean? What did that mean? Why did they do that? Are they changing? Something sacred is actually just happening in this moment. You're stepping off the throne. Okay? So now you're stepping off the throne and you're placing someone on it. So if the goal of this is to know yourself, right? The goal of this is to know thyself, to know yourself. So now why are you switching and putting somebody else on that throne? So instead of me just knowing myself, me being present and then knowing that I am everything I desire to be, instead of me being open to the gift of the next moment, now I'm trying to interpret, what does this person mean? What is this person telling me about myself? Right? So do you see, now I've taken myself off the throne. It's not about who I am with God, as God. It's about who this person is telling me that I am. Do you see the trap there? Right? Do you see the trap there? It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. All right. So we make them the center. We make them the source. We make them the author of our emotional world. Right? We start to make the other person the author of our emotional world. Right? A very powerless position to be in. And so now when you're in that position, right, you feel powerless. You feel exhausted. Right? It feels like effort. It feels like you're always trying to fit. It feels like you're always one step behind. You're always reactive. You walk into the situation, something happens, and now you're reacting to it. Instead of you walking through life as source. Make sense? I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Right? Oftentimes, when these things happen, when we're quote unquote asleep, right? When these things happen, they happen so subtly it feels normal. It's almost the normal thing for you to walk around and react to somebody and then say, oh, this must mean this about me. That must mean that about me. The only reason that it means anything about you is because you walk in there and you attach a label on top of it. But you don't have to do that anymore, right? You're too divine for that. You're too divine for that. So Psalm 46:10, Psalm 46:10, it says, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10, we talk about this a lot. Psalm 46:10, all right? What is stillness? What is stillness? Think about stillness for a little bit, right? Stillness is the collapse of all the noise that tells you to look outside of yourself. The urge to analyze, to chase, to figure things out, to assign meaning to every shift in the world. All of it quiets here. This is stillness, right? When I'm no longer looking at the external to determine who I am, and I'm simply deciding who I am right now. And so now something deeper is actually revealed. When you can become still in the knowing of who you are right now, all right? It's not a better strategy. It's not a new affirmation. It's simply identity, right? It's the recognition that the power you have been seeking in people, the power you've been seeking in outcomes and circumstances has always been seated within your own awareness. To be still sleep, to be still. I said to be still sleep. To be still is what? It's to stop abandoning yourself long enough to realize there is nothing outside of you that needs to confirm who you are. You don't need to be validated or confirmed by anyone out there. The only validation that you truly need is yours, right? When you truly know, not just intellectually, but experientially, right? When you simply know, when you choose to know this is truth, that I am God, that I am source, everything changes. You don't have to move through life waiting for validations or signs. You become the one who defines, the one who decides, the one who gives meaning to every moment. Stillness becomes your throne because you're no longer moved by everything you see. Stillness, right? When you are present in this moment and you're not just moved around, blown around by everything that you see. That's stillness, right? You're not leaving your throne. I'm not getting up and I'm just trying to figure out what this person said mean about me? What does how this situation look mean about me? It means nothing about you. It's just a situation. It's just a circumstance. The only thing that means anything about you is you. It's what you decide. It's who you decide you are. Okay? Now you become the one who defines, the one who decides, the one who gives meaning to every moment. Stillness becomes your throne because you're no longer moved by everything you see. You remain rooted in yourself as the source. And now reality can organize around your knowing rather than your doubts. Beautiful. All right. So to be still, we're not just talking about physical silence or meditation. We're talking about the refusal to chase meaning outside of yourself. This is a very powerful place to be when you refuse to chase meaning outside of yourself. Those things, the circumstance, it is what it is, but I am that I am, right? It's not just lip service. We just say that for nothing. It is what it is, but I am that I am. Circumstance can look like whatever, but the God within me is perfect, so the situation must be unfolding perfectly. It must be, because I know who I am, right? It's the discipline of not running after interpretations. The discipline of knowing who you are right now, not scrambling to decode behavior, not outsourcing your peace to another's actions. Because once you start, here we go, once you start studying them, you stop knowing yourself. Do you hear that? Okay? Once you stop making yourself the source, yourself the center, all right? And you start studying them, think about what you're doing, right? The goal of this is to know myself so intimately as prosperity, as love, as everything I desire to be. And now I know that I am reality, so the external becomes this direct reflection of me. So when I know myself, reality knows me as well. God knows me as well. But now, what happens when I go out there and I start studying that person or that circumstance? And I say, this must mean I'm not worthy. This must mean I'm doing it wrong. This must mean I'm not aligned. This must mean I'm not God enough. When I do that, I'm leaving the throne. Okay? I'm leaving the throne. I'm vanquishing. I'm leaving the fucking throne. Goddamn. I'm leaving the fucking throne. And now I'm trying to give them the authority. I'm saying, maybe if I figure this out, this can tell me about me. And then I come up with some shitty story about me, and I use this thing to tell me who I am. When you start studying them, you stop knowing yourself. And when you stop knowing yourself, you forget you're the one assigning meaning to everything. It doesn't matter what that thing looks like. You're the one assigning meaning anyway. Even if you diagnose it for 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 years, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, who is the one who is assigning meaning to it? You. You don't have to analyze it. You can just decide who you are right now. Do you understand? Yes, Alex. Okay, cool. The psychology of obsession. The psychology of obsession. Obsession, first and foremost, is not love. Obsession is not love. Obsession is misplaced authorship. It's what happens when awareness fixates outward instead of resting inward. Obsession can be this natural manifestation of when you just overly focus on the external, right? You replay conversations. You analyze tone. You search for clues. Why? Because you believe something outside of you holds the answer to how you should feel. This is all it is, right? When you are obsessing on something out there, you're trying to figure out and overanalyze it. You're trying to analyze the tone. You're trying to search for clues. You're trying to do all of these things. Why? Because you believe that something out there holds the answers to how you should feel. Either way, you're going to be the one making the decision anyway. You're the one making the decision anyway. It doesn't matter if you decide right now I'm everything I desire to be, or you take 10 years to analyze that situation. And the whole time you're thinking, I'm not good enough. Maybe there's something off here. This person I must not be magnetic enough. No matter what you analyze, you will still always be the one deciding who you are. Would you prefer to simply decide who you are as a sovereign being? Or would you rather to look out there and have other people decide who you are? All right. So you believe something outside of you holds the answer to how you should feel. But let's look closer. Every story that you create about them is being written by you. Every single story that you tell about that person, about that situation, you're the one writing it. It's all you. It's not them. They're not writing the story. You don't know what's going on in their mind. You have no idea. You're the one writing the story. All right? So Matthew 6:22, it says, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. Now, remember, we talk about eye, we're not just talking about the look, right? We're talking about perspective, perception, perception, all right? The single eye is about undivided awareness. Most people live with the divided gaze, half on themselves and half on the world, half in decision and half in doubt. They look at life while simultaneously looking at what others are doing, trying to figure out what others are thinking, trying to figure out what others are choosing. And in that split, right, their power is scattered. Your power is all over the place. But when your perspective, when your perception, when your eye becomes single, now attention returns to one place. I am everything I desire to be. Right now, no matter what. No matter what. Attention returns to one place, the self, the chooser. You are the chooser, right? The one assigning meaning, that is you. And now clarity can replace confusion. Now light can replace the distortion, because you're not trying to read reality anymore from multiple perspectives, trying to say, this is who I am. Unless they do something, then that might be who I am. You're seeing from the center of your own consciousness. Okay, can you see from the center of your own consciousness? All right, cool. So when your eye is single, when your perception is solid, when your perspective is rooted in knowing who you are right now, you're going to stop asking, what does this mean about me? There's no point in even asking that anymore. You begin living from, what do I decide this means about me? What do I decide this means about me? There's no longer a divided narrative pulling you in different directions. Isn't it frustrating to try to figure out what a situation means about you? Isn't it exhausting to say, look, Alex, let me send you 18 paragraphs about what's going on in my life. Well, the SP did this, and I had them back for a second, but yada, yada, and this, and I'm confused. I don't know what I was doing, self-concept, and this worked. And doesn't it feel terrible? But think about it. Who is the one who is actually coming up with meaning? As you're writing this story, as you're studying it, who is the one who is actually using their perspective to give that story meaning? It is you. And now you feel like you're not good enough. Now you feel like you need another coaching session. Let me spend a couple $100 on another coaching session because that'll do the trick. Let me get, let me read another book. Let me watch another live stream. Let me ask another Discord message. Why? Because you're constantly looking out there, trying to get meaning from out there when there's no meaning out there. This is a dead world. The world is meaningless. Nothing out there has meaning. You're the one who is giving all of these things meaning. Saying, this means I'm doing it right. This means I'm doing it wrong. Why are you giving that much power to anything outside of yourself? There is nothing to be conscious of but self. And if you do not proactively, intentionally decide to be conscious of yourself as what you desire, then guess what? You're going to use everything out there as an excuse to determine who you are. You say, well, this person was kind of rude, so that must mean this person cut me off in traffic. This thing happened. This situation looked like this. This person said this. This person said that. Now you're constantly looking for something out there because you won't make the decision yourself. If you do not consciously choose who you are, guess what? You're going to unconsciously start looking for things out there to determine who you are. Awareness is always being aware of itself. You can either do it consciously or you can do it unconsciously. This is why presence is powerful. This is why your presence is powerful. Because now you're not just walking around getting slapped around. A circumstance just blows you to the left. Another one just blows you to the right. Now you are actually rooted. You are the rock. What was that quote that Glow said in Discord the other day? It's like the wind blows, the mountain does. No matter how loud the wind howls, the mountain does not bow, or something along those lines. Right? Very beautiful. But what happens is when you are not rooted, the circumstances blow, and now you start to use that circumstance to try to tell you who you are. It can't tell you anything. You can sit here and you can tell me your life story. Well, you know, Alex, did this and that job didn't work out, and now my parents look at me as a failure, and this situation is happening, and my ex left me, and they cheated, and yada. None of that shit has anything to do with who you are right now. None of that. None of those things take away from the absolute truth that you right now are every single version of yourself stacked onto one. You are everything that you desire to be right now, no matter what. It's just the truth. It's not a feeling. It's just the truth. It's just what it is. But you've been pretending for so long to be something else. You've been pretending that people outside of you can tell you who you are. You've been pretending that a circumstance that lasts for 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 years, 30 years, a circumstance that lasts 90 years cannot define the infinite awareness, the infinite God that you are. It can't. Nothing that has happened before this fucking moment can define the infinite God that you are. Nothing. Nothing. Not even the thing that you thought about. Not even that. Drop it. It does not define you. It doesn't define you. Huh? So now, when we live from wholeness, from the knowing of who we are, everything that we see begins to reflect the clarity that we have chosen within ourselves. A single eye means undivided awareness. That's all it means. It means undivided perspective, perception. All right? So we are no longer going to walk around being split between who am I and what are they doing. We are going to be rooted in this is who I am, regardless of what appears. Now, I know some of y'all are a little bit, okay, you're just a tad bit, all right? So, when I say this is who I am, no matter what appears, am I saying that you can't get what you want? Say yes so I can block you. Say yes so I can block you. When I say this is who I am regardless of what appears, does that mean that I'm giving up authorship and I can no longer have what I want? No, it doesn't fucking mean that. It means I decide who I am right now. Right now, regardless of what shows up in this moment, knowing that everything that I desire still must reflect to me. I'm just no longer defined by what I see in the moment. I am everything I desire to be in this moment right now. Right? When your awareness becomes divided, guess what? You fall into duality. It becomes you versus them. Well, I've said this, but they're still acting like that. It becomes observer versus observed. Well, I said I was going to be, this was going to happen, but it didn't. Well, of course not, because there's only now, and look at who you're being, right? You fall into power versus powerlessness. I'm trying to be powerful, but I still think something out there has power. But when your awareness becomes single, when your awareness becomes single and rooted in the one and only truth that you are already everything you desire to be, you can actually return to authorship now. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So hopefully this message is liberating you. Hopefully this is allowing you to be like, hold up, you're right. I was sitting there trying to analyze what it means, And the only person that was doing the analyzing was the one who was giving things meaning, which is me. Oh, wow. Very powerful perspective. What is there to figure out? What is there to figure out? Right? Sometimes we do it for the plot, we do it for the love of the game, but I'm still everything I desire to be right now, no matter what. No matter what. Okay? So the next part is attention is creative power. Attention is creative power. Where your attention goes, what am I going to say? Where your attention goes, where your attention goes, I knew you were going to say energy flows. I'm actually going to say something different though. All right. Where your attention goes, identity flows. A little new one. A little new one for your asses. Where attention goes, identity flows. Ooh, yeah, I hit y'all with a little razzle dazzle. Huh? And where identity settles, reality organizes. Think about it, think about it, think about it. Where your attention, you are awareness. You are awareness. Where your attention goes, your identity flows. What are you aware of being? And where your identity settles, reality organizes. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? So when you give your attention to they're distant, when you give your attention to they're distant long enough, all of a sudden, it becomes a problem with you. They're distant, and now I'm not enough. Now I did something wrong. You feel me? Okay? They're unsure. You're studying them. There must be unsure. They're unsure. Now it becomes something about you. They're pulling away. It becomes something about you. You're not enough. I must not be divine enough. I must not be sitting on my throne enough. I must not be good enough. But you are. But you absolutely are. Okay? So when you give your attention to these things, to the external, you're not observing reality anymore. You're feeding a version of it. Hold up. You thought your attention doesn't manifest. Your attention doesn't manifest since it's appearing only if you identify with it. Let's think about that. Let's think about that, Katie. Think about what you're saying. Your attention doesn't manifest? Or the stray thoughts that just pop up automatically don't manifest? So if I sit here and I give attention to the knowing that I am cheated on, that doesn't manifest? Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. Your attention, your awareness, your identity, that right there that's your life. That's your perspective. How else would you define your identity or perspective, right? What you are aware of being, what your attention is on daily, right? So my attention is on the knowing that I am everything I desire to be. My attention is on the knowing that I am present. I am rooted in the knowing that I'm everything I desire to be. If a stray thought comes, it's not me. I am still everything I desire to be. Right? So how could your attention not be what shows up? Attention, awareness, perspective, perception. How do you draw the line between those things? There are automatic thoughts that show up within your world. Let me be very, very clear. There are automatic thoughts, of course, that show up. Right? There's emotions that just simply show up, but I don't have to make those things a problem. Right? I don't have to make those things a problem. Okay? So yes, it does come down to your attention. Well, actions that come from the attention awareness we don't desire. Yeah, exactly. Attention is identity, not your thoughts, right? So think, okay, once we start getting into actions, you're leaving the kind of the core of this, right? So everything is downstream from identity. First and foremost is who are you, right? What am I doing is not as important of a question as who am I being, right? Who am I being, right? So if I'm being the one who is everything I desire to be, right? Whether I do something or don't do anything does not matter, right? I'm simply flowing from that knowing of who I am. Now my actions naturally follow that knowing. When I'm just trying to force myself through action to be something, it feels like struggle. It feels a little bit more difficult, right? It feels exhausting, right? It's like right now, if you decide that you are fit, if you decide that, you are going to be in shape and you are going to live a certain lifestyle, that you decide that this is who you're going to be, your actions are going to flow from there. You're going to naturally want to shop different, eat different, work out different, wake up different, dress different, drink water different. You're going to go out to the club and act different, right? All of that is from identity. Now, let's say you don't want a holistic life and you just want to get fine for the next 2 months. You got a trip. And so now you're forcing yourself for 3-4 fucking days. It becomes difficult, don't it? It becomes fucking difficult, don't it? Because you're trying to swim upstream. You haven't changed the identity. You're just trying to force actions to get you somewhere. I mean, this is no different than an entrepreneur. They'll tell you, right? If you read a book on an entrepreneur, you don't have to believe in God or law of attraction or nothing, right? He might say, "Look, I just knew I was gonna fucking make it. I just knew I would go somehow, some way. I was just gonna fucking make it." And that it was that overall identity that allowed them to keep grinding, that allowed them to keep going, right? They weren't thinking about just making the first business or making a team. It was this overarching goal that now all of their actions could flow through. Their thoughts flow through. Their emotions flow through it, right? So even if they were down for a little bit, they could pull themselves back up knowing that I'm still on the fucking path. Why? Because I am the path. So it's identity first. It's the knowing of who you are first. Everything else is downstream from that. Right? Yeah. You're aware. So let's think. So awareness, right? You just are awareness. You're always aware. Always. Whether you're conscious of being aware or not conscious of being aware, you're just always aware of something, of yourself being something, right? Identity is simply the active grasping of that awareness. Now, people will say, right, like identity is a limitation. I agree to a sense, to a certain extent. I agree. However, when we really start to break it down, what is not a story? Me saying I'm pure awareness, I'm already what I desire to be, is a story. Me saying I am prosperity is a story. Me saying I am God and I do not even need to grasp onto a story because life just unfolds perfectly for me is a story. It's all a story, right? Just the knowing that you are source is a fucking story. It's all a story. But so we simply want to grab a story that works for us so we can flow through life within a reality that actually makes sense for us, right? Even nothingness is a story. Right? It's all a story. Is knowing that you're going to make it contradictory? No, it's not. Because you are it right now. You're saying it in this moment, right? You're never outside of this moment. You're already the person who has made it. Now, how that unfolds is up to you. You know what's an interesting thing is we will be so caught up on kind of the why and the how things happen. But when you really understand time, all the how and the why it happens is right now. It's happened already right now because I've decided it. That's the how, right? And the when is right now, right? It's already happened right now because I've decided it. Now, how that plays out in 2 days, a day, in 5 minutes, That's whatever, that happens. But the how and the why is already made up. It's already done because I've decided right now. There is no tomorrow, right? So even if I say, yeah, this shit is gonna fucking work out, it's going to fucking work out. I'm saying that from the current moment in the conviction that it's done, right? Don't get caught up in semantics with God. Sometimes when y'all talking to God, it's like you think you're talking to Chat GPT, Chat God, right? The whole, remember that those myths like, oh, you can't say an affirmation with a negative word in it because they, like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? The awareness that you're speaking of is yourself. It's just you. You are the awareness of God. Being aware of yourself. The desire is already a promise to you. It's already done. It's already yours. So you're not convincing something outside of you or something within you to take on this desire and give it to you. It's just you accepting that this desire that you have is the truth. Whether you say it's going to happen, it has happened, it will happen, semantics don't matter. It's like thinking that you have to, it's like thinking that you have to speak to God in a certain language. You don't have, language is a human construct. God is not like, if you said it in French, then I'll react a little bit better. Right? It's just you, and you already know what you want before you even communicate it. We sit in our mind and we try to fumble around with words when it's just you up there. Then you wonder why I want to put some of y'all in a straitjacket. It's just you up there. You're like, oh, well, how should I say it? Should it be past tense, future tense? Should I say it like this? What if I use a no? What if you tell me? It's your brain. It's you. I don't know. I don't know how to talk to you. What the verbiage is not important. The acceptance that it's done, that's all that matters. And for you to communicate your desire, I will venture to say you don't even need words to communicate this within yourself. Do you? Do you need words right there to communicate what you desire? Hell no, you just know what you desire. You just know it. Yeah, y'all trolling me right now. All right, so here we go. You're not observing reality. You are feeding a version of it. You're animating it, right? So whenever you are using people outside of you to determine who you are, you have stepped out of observer. Because this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to define who you are. And you're just going to observe reality and see reality through the lens of you already being that which you desire to be. But once you start trying to judge, they're distant, they're doing that, they're pulling away. What you're doing is you're feeding a version of it. You're giving your awareness, your attention to a version of it. You're animating that. And now you're giving life to a script and then wondering why it keeps playing. So Philippians 4:8. Philippians 4:8. It says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, think on these things. I'm going to say that one more time. Your mind should be consumed. Your present, your mind should be consumed with how beautiful you are, with how beautiful your life is, with how beautiful the situation is that you're in, with how divine you are. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, think on these things, right? What y'all gonna find is that as you get more and more into the law and all this awareness, consciousness stuff, right? What you're gonna start finding is the people that you, I guess, I want to say admire, the people who buy into this the most. Right? Even in scripture, when it says life and death are in the power of the tongue, and it says those that love it will eat its fruit. When you understand that you are creating in every moment, there's a particular hunger for being in this present moment and deciding who you are. There's nowhere else you'd rather be. I don't want to give power to the old story anymore. I don't feel like dwelling on the old things anymore. I don't want that anymore. I simply want to fall in love with the knowing of who I am, with the truth of who I am right now. There is nothing I crave more than God, than to know myself as God, than to know myself as the Lord, as the law right now. There is nothing more. It consumes my mind 24/7. It's all I think about. This is why I love sitting up here and talking to y'all about it, because it just reinforces it even fucking more. I love it. I fucking love it. Right? The more that you understand this, right? The more that you understand it, not even understand this, the more that you go down this rabbit hole. And when it really just, hold up, every single moment I'm creating my reality, what else are you doing? You're always either deciding that you are who you desire to be or you are not. Always. Even right now. Even as you listen to this and perhaps you have certain questions that come up and you're like, damn, am I doing it right? You are doing it right. You're doing it fine. You're already everything that you desire to be. But even that slip right there is just a story. It's just a story. It is just a story. Okay? So, what you dwell on is never neutral. What you dwell on is never neutral. It is formative. The mind is not just observing reality, it's selecting the lens through which reality is experienced. Most people let their attention be pulled by what? Fear, doubt, appearances, and then wonder why their world feels heavy. It feels uncertain. It feels fragmented. But this is an invitation back into authorship. It is a reminder that you're not at the mercy of your thoughts. You're not at the mercy of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of emotions, the unholy trinity. The thoughts, the emotions, the circumstances, you are not at the mercy of any of them. Right? You are the one choosing what is worthy of your focus. What is worthy of God's attention right now? Think about that. Just ponder that for a second. You being God, what is worthy of your attention right now? Even as you listen to this, even as you listen to this discussion, are you mindful of the moments that you say, oh shit, I've been doing this fucking wrong this whole time? Are you even mindful of that judgment of yourself? Look at these discussions are simply refinement. They're refinement. They're refinement. Because remember, in this moment, if you're sitting there like, oh fuck, I've been doing everything wrong, that's your reality. Be mindful. You can't fuck this up. This is just a different perspective. That's all. Just a different perspective. Just a different perspective, okay? So most people let their attention be pulled by fear, doubt, appearances, and then wonder why their world feels heavy or uncertain or fragmented, okay? But this is the invitation back into authorship. It's a reminder that you're not at the mercy of your thoughts. You're not at the mercy of your thoughts. The circumstances, the emotions, the thoughts, you're not at the mercy of them. You're the one choosing what's worthy of your focus. And what you consistently return to in awareness begins to shape the very texture of your experience. Right? So when we go back to this verse, this Philippians 4:8, when it says, think on these things, when it says, whatever is beautiful and lovely and divine and perfect and all of these things, think on these things, right? It's not about forced positivity. Right? It's not about forced positivity. It is about conscious alignment with the truth that you are just everything that you desire to be. Downstream from that is a little bit of happiness, though I ain't gonna lie to you. Downstream from knowing that you are everything that you desire to be, is a little happiness down there. But we're talking about identity first. Not trying to force yourself to be positive, just knowing that you are everything you desire to be. It's about recognizing your inner world sets the tone for everything you perceive. When you choose to dwell on what is true, whole, aligned, love, divine, when you choose to dwell on what's aligned with who you decide that you are, you step into a proactive role where you no longer have to react to life. You're not just walking around reacting to shit anymore, right? You're participating in its formation. So instead of you just willy-nilly walking through life and something happens and you react to it, I hope I'm doing this right. Now, when you decide who you are, when you're present and you're walking through life and then knowing that you are everything you desire to be, you are actively participating in creation. You are choosing to see life through the lens of who you desire to be. Isn't this much more powerful? Isn't that much more free than constantly feeling like you're behind life? Oh, I hope this goes right. I hope this goes well. Now you're judging it. I don't know if it went well. What does this mean about me? Maybe I'm not in my identity. I just need y'all's help right now. Ground me. Right? But what if you set your identity first? Right? What if you set your identity first? Okay? So, when you do that, when you become proactive, you're participating in formation. Your attention becomes intentional. Your perception becomes refined. Your identity becomes stable. And from there, reality can reflect your chosen state of being. Right? Your chosen state of being. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So next, observation versus identification. How much time I got? Oh, I got plenty of time. Right? Observation versus identification. What's the difference? Right? There is nothing wrong with noticing behavior or noticing circumstances. But there is everything wrong with becoming it. Observation says, I see this. Identification says, this defines me. There is the line right there. So the situation happens. Okay, I observe it, I see it, but it doesn't define me. That's where the line is drawn. The moment I start making it a personal attack on my identity, I start internalizing it. This must mean I'm not. Boom. That's the bullshit right there. Once we start saying that this must mean I'm not, catch yourself. It doesn't mean shit. That's just you using that as an excuse to say that you're not it. You're already everything you desire to be. Okay? So most people don't just observe, they internalize. They take someone's action and then what? Turn it into a statement about their worth. But hear this, right? Nothing outside of you has the authority to define who you are unless you give it that authority. Nothing has that authority unless you give it that authority. This is Jesus standing in front of Pontius Pilate and said, you have no power over me unless it's given to you from above. You have no power over me unless it's given to you from above. Meaning, this shit don't mean shit unless I say it means shit. This shit don't mean shit unless I say it means shit. And I say it don't mean shit. The only thing that means shit is what I say. I am everything I desire to be right now. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right, so Luke 17:21, the kingdom of God is within you. You absolutely right, Alexis. This might be the first time I've agreed with you in a long time. Right there, right? So the kingdom of God is within you, Luke 17:21, not within them, not hidden in their behavior, not hidden in their text message, not waiting in their validation, but within you. Meaning, the source of love you seek is you. The meaning that you're chasing, you trying to find the meaning out there in something, it's you. You're the meaning. What it's going to come down to is whatever meaning you give it anyway. You're searching for meaning, searching for proof, searching for validation, searching, when you're the one who at the end of the searching is going to give it meaning anyway. The stability you want is you. You're looking for them to be stable instead of just deciding that you're stability. So why are you studying them like they hold the answers? Why are you studying them like they hold the answers? They hold no answers. They hold no answers. That's just an experience. They're an experience. They have no answers. They're an experience of the love that you are, of the answers that you already are. They're reflections of the answers that you've already accepted as true. But you can change that right now. You can change everything now, right? So the return to the self. Every moment you catch yourself analyzing, I want you to pause. Not to fix the thoughts, not to fight the pattern, but to return, right? Ask yourself, what identity am I holding right now? What identity am I holding right now? Because that is the only question that's ever mattered. That is the only question that has ever mattered. Whenever you start trying to analyze, why is this happening? What does this mean about you? Pause. Hold up. It means nothing. The only thing that ever has mattered is who am I right now? Who am I being right now? What do I decide that this means right now? Right? Not what are they doing? Doesn't matter. But who am I being? Are you the one who is chosen, or the one who is questioning if you're chosen? Are you the one who is secure, or the one who is searching for security? Are you the one who defines what reality is, or are you the one who reacts to what reality looks like? So to wrap all this up, right? Gospel of Thomas, when you know yourselves, then you will be known. When you know yourselves, then you will be known. To know yourself, okay, it is not to collect descriptions about who you are. I want you to think about this, think about this. When you know yourselves, when you know yourself as source, then you will be known by source. Why? Because you are source. Because the awareness that knows you is you. It's God. It's all the same. There is only the one. There is only the one. We speak in concessions and we'll say, I know myself, so God sees me too. But no. There is only God seeing you as you. That's it. That is reality. There is God seeing you as you. When you know yourselves, you will be known. You will be known. Right? So what this means is to return to the one who is aware before any label is applied. Most people know themselves only through reflection, through roles, through what others have said or how life has treated them. But that's not true knowing. That is secondhand identity. You're suffering from secondhand identity. That's not even you, my God. That's not even you, Goddess. That's a secondhand identity. Put that shit down. All right? So real knowing happens when you strip all that shit away and stand present with yourself without reaching for validation, without referencing the past, without needing the world to confirm you. In that space, you can recognize something deeper. You're not the character being observed. You are the awareness observing it all. You're the one giving meaning to everything. You're the one assigning meaning to every damn thing. And then, right, when it says, and then you will be known, this points to something absolutely profound, absolutely delicious. The world doesn't recognize who you are based on what you say. It reflects who you are based on what you are being. When you truly know yourself as the source, as the one deciding, as the one giving meaning, life can mirror that knowing back to you because there's no longer a contradiction within you. You're no longer searching to be seen. You are established in yourself. And now everything and everyone you encounter can respond to the identity you've already claimed within. Beautiful. Beautiful. You don't become known by studying other people's behaviors. You don't become known by yourself by studying other people's behaviors towards you. I don't feel like that's profound enough. If the only thing is God being aware of itself, in other words, you being aware of yourself because it's the same thing, then how can you truly know yourself by studying somebody else? It's about you. It's about you. You become known by becoming yourself so fully that the world has no choice but to reflect it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay? You're not here to search around like a detective, like fucking Inspector Gadget. You're not here to search around trying to piece together clues, trying to read between lines, trying to figure out what something means. You are here to be a creator. You are here to choose your identity and then decide meaning. You are here to stand as source. When you stop studying them, stillness can actually return. Clarity can return. Power can return. And now you can remember there is no one to figure out. There is only someone to be. There is no one to figure out. There is only someone to be right now. Beautiful. All right. So a couple reflection questions, and I'll post these in the Discord. Number one, where today did you leave yourself in an attempt to understand someone else? Now, I'm not saying don't have empathy, because I know some of y'all been dropping your heads. You're going to misunderstand what I'm saying. He said don't care about nobody. I ain't say that shit. Stop using other people to judge yourself. So where did you leave yourself in an attempt to understand someone else? Cool. And what would change if in that exact moment you chose to understand yourself instead? Let me read the whole thing again. Where today, where yesterday, where in the last week, last month, last year, did you leave yourself in an attempt to understand someone else? Meaning you left yourself to try to understand, why are they doing something? What does this mean about me? Right? When is the last time you left yourself to do that? And what would change if in that exact moment you chose to understand yourself instead? You chose to sit in the knowing of who you are instead. Alexa, did you just have a fucking breakthrough? Did you just have a fucking breakthrough? Or am I over here being optimistic? Right? So, mission just for the live, for anybody that's not in the Discord, just for the live, all right? Today and tomorrow, every time that you catch yourself analyzing someone, all right, don't follow the thought, don't entertain the story, simply return to this present moment and ask yourself, what identity am I holding right now? What identity am I holding right now? And then choose. And then stay there. Because this was never about them. It was always about you. Okay, this was never about them. It was always about you. Okay, I am that I am, no matter what. So, of course, this discussion will be on YouTube. This is day 4 of our 7-day series. We're doing a 7-day challenge within the Discord. And it's a presence challenge, and it's also a make it about you challenge, right? I apologize if you try to join today. The link is closed for today. it's closed for a little while, right? But it is a free link. We'll open it back up soon. You just gotta make some changes because we were getting bots and shit earlier. So, suffering from success, right? A little bit of growth ain't never hurt nobody. A little bit of growth ain't never hurt nobody, right? So, yeah, this will be on YouTube. Every single discussion that we've had over the last this is the 4th day. So over the last 4 days have been catered to the specific mission of the day. So you can go back to YouTube and you can look at day 1. I think it's labeled on the thumbnail, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And then if you just hit the live tab, you can see all of them. And I think especially day 1, day 2 might be very, very eye-opening. I think day 1, day 2, 3 was kind of a refresher. But today's with 1 and 2 are definitely like core kind of must-watch content. Okay. And then also, for anybody who has just joined the Discord, right? Please. There is a message that's generated when you first join. It says start here. Okay. On the start here, it has things you can go through. It tells you this is the purpose of the Discord. This is how you choose your roles in the Discord. So you're notified of certain events that happen. But there's also a core foundational piece. Sometimes we can talk through or talk past each other because we come into a space and we don't understand what the space is about, right? The space is not a law of attraction or a law of assumption or an affirmation or a sleep tape type of space, right? This is an I am space. Manifestation is a side effect of the knowing of who you are. This is a space for us to walk in the knowing that we are source, right? This is why sometimes, you can be new. It might feel like tension. It might feel like you're talking past each other, but you're not. It's just the core foundation of the group is not about manifestation. It's about the knowing of who you are. Manifestation is a side effect of that. Now, of course, people are in there and they want their manifestation. Of course you do, right? But the foundation of it is I am, right? So even if you go through the core content, there's must-watch videos. The number 1 video is I am is just the truth, not a state. So it's a core understanding of what I am awareness is, right? Because if you don't understand that, you might be a little bit lost in some of the, things that go on within the Discord, some of the discussions that we have, even some of these lectures that we have right now. Okay? Is there something wrong? There's nothing wrong with those things. No, of course not. There's nothing wrong with those. But we're not a group that is pushing that. There ain't nothing wrong with it. It's just, here, let me ask you this question. I constantly will ask this question. Let me ask you this. What is the difference between you yelling affirmations all day and somebody sitting in the church all day praying to a God? What's the difference? Me sitting in the church pew Monday through Friday, yelling prayers, hoping something outside of me hears me. And me sitting here yelling affirmations out loud, hoping that something hears me. What's the difference? Well, you really break it down, there is no fucking difference. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. We're both outsourcing. We're both hoping that something out there comes and saves you, right? So we go to the deeper foundation. What is that foundation? The foundation is that you are already what you desire to be. That there's an awareness within you. There's a source. There's a God within you that is you, cannot be separated from you, right? And with that knowing now, you can actually build an identity on solid ground, right? So instead of me just being out here and I don't even know shit about me, I just know manifestation, affirmation. I'm just yelling affirmations, right? Turning into, I'm going crazy just yelling affirmations. Now, I'm actually gonna root myself in a foundation, in the truth that I am already what I desire to be. Why am I already what I desire to be? Right? Because if I ask you, if I say, well, why are you already what you desire to be? You say, shit, I don't know. I don't know why I'm everything I desire to be. Like, well, then you're not understanding the core that sources within you. So of course you're everything that you desire to be. Right? Look at Alexis. She's just messy, bro. God damn, girl. Just messy. I might have to mute your ass otherwise too. All right. So, all right, y'all. Finna jump off of here. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. And then, yeah, even to expand on that, right? I don't expect all of y'all to believe the same shit I believe. Doesn't mean it's not my space, though. Doesn't mean it's not my space, though, right? So you're all allowed to believe whatever you believe, right? I doubt that there's anybody who believes in what I say 100%. We're not here to have, y'all walking around wording the words that I say. Right, that's why we open it up for discussions and debates and all those things within the Discord. Right, so I have no problem with any of that. Right, but the main thing is the recognition that you're God. Now, how we go about the manifestation part is different. All right, but I'll tell you another rule: don't listen to Alexis. Alexis in the Discord, we had a back and forth for a while where she was trying to tell everybody that I said I didn't believe in manifestation. She was reaching out of her ass, but she was pressing me for a long time about that. I don't know where that came from, but it was a very interesting discussion. All right. You can have whatever you desire, but the core mission of the group is for you to recognize that you are God. From that recognition, now everything can flow from there. All right. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.